Sego Sewagwego. We're here at the Ganyakahago Ngwana Raudijakwa Language and Cultural Center this morning, and we are speaking with community members, Trina C. Daibo, who is one of the project coordinators for the possibility of a building going up here in Kahnawake near Kahnawake Survival School. There is an ongoing land dispute situation that has developed in the last couple of days that many community members here in Kahnawake have been following. So, there's a lot of things that are happening, developing with the story. We also have Linda Delormier with us, who is the chairperson of the board of directors, and Regan Tarbal, who is the executive director here at the Cultural Center. So Trina, let's start with you. Let's just talk a little bit about the project, your role, and some of the issues that you would like to clear up for community members regarding this situation.
Well, the project has been ongoing for the last few years, 2-3 years. It took us to get to this stage right now. This was the last piece, was just testing the soil, doing the tree survey. We did an aerial survey on Sunday, and the work was stopped by a community member who has, issues with the location. And, we all respect people's opinions, and a lot of thought went into this, not only by this project team, but by elders in the community who were part and parcel to the creation and development of Kahnawak's education, including KSS and the Cultural Center 40 years ago, this coming September, I believe. So we're in the celebration stage, and it's exciting. We actually chose a location where the Culture Center was envisioned to be all the way back into the 70s, where the foundation still sits out there. We would have liked to have taken a tour out there this morning and also try to point out some clarifications that are being put out on social media. Number one, yes, in my professional capacity, this is my role. But first and foremost, I'm a community member, as well as these women and other women who participate on the project. And we're Ungwehunwe women who have children. We're our children's role models. We have a love for Mother Earth. And to be put into the social media as land destroyers and cutting trees, there's a lot of pictures that are on social media right now with all these orange ribbons. I think that's one of the most distasteful posts that I've seen so far, because those ribbons were placed on the trees, and it was simply to do a cataloging of the trees so that we know what's out there. That could also be part of, is it feasible or not? Everything is being marked, and now all that work is undone because now there's misinformation being spread that all those trees were to be cut, and you have teardrops and people. It's created anger, animosity towards, first and foremost, as I said, Ungwehunwe women who stand behind the project.
So the trees were marked as part of the study, because I think that's probably a sticking point for a lot of people. They were marked to just, what were you going to do with them? They were marked for the study, I understand that, but what was the intent?
The intent was to catalog them, so to write what type of tree each tree was that was over 10 centimeters in diameter. Okay. The other important post that's been circulating, I believe, since yesterday, we've received calls, is that there's a tree being held that's saying, thanking, us, this group of people, for cutting trees. Not one tree was cut for this project. There was brush cut, disturbed brush. Like I said, I respect people's opinions, but you have to give the proper information out. It's disrupted brush all along from Bully's truck stop all the way to KSS. Hundreds and hundreds of trees were actually cut and disrupted the area to build our Kahnawake Survival School. I don't believe there was any major protests held there at that time, but to put the water and sewer to get there is why that was all disrupted. And now that gives us access to having water and sewer if the building was to go out there.
What surprises you most about this situation, being on the project for 2 or 3 years? What surprises you most about what's occurring now?
What surprises me most is that we've been in the media for over 2 years, and location has been a big part of the project and the information that's been given. What surprises me the most is that people are saying, how come, KSS wasn't consulted, or teachers or education? when in fact we went over and above, and we actually interviewed and sat down with every single student who was in class, I guess, at that day, or if they, maybe there's students or teachers that chose not to attend, I'm not sure, but each session was filled. And everybody had an opportunity, and we've been sitting down with education since the beginning, because they're a partner. They have to be a partner, because the reason, one of the main reasons the location was really loved by everybody was the fact that Kahnawake Survival School could benefit from the project.
Okay. Now there's some discussion, I don't know who wants to answer this, about the actual site. The site was chosen. People wonder, are there other sites that could be used? Were there other sites? Is it too late to find some sort of compromise?
Yeah. The board of directors was given 3 sites. When we were looking at this project, we were asking what sites are available that can accommodate this type of project. And I don't know if it's common knowledge, but only 15% of commonly held land is left that it's commonly held. The 85% of what's left in the community is privately owned. So of that 15%, these were 3 sites that could hold the project. So the MCK gave us these sites as options, and after careful consideration, we looked at all 3 sites. One was behind Kahnawake School, like behind Rocco's Farm. One was near the sports complex, and the other one was just west of KSS. So we looked at all of the various factors, financial, physical, human, cultural, linguistic, all of these different things. And the KSS site seemed to have, what we were looking for. And some of the considerations that we were looking for in terms of why we chose it, I'm just looking at, was access to water and sewer, the historical ties to the area, with regard to what Trina was saying in terms of the cultural center wanting to be there before, the educational opportunities and the collaboration, the potential for collaboration with not just KSS, but all of the schools and all of the programs, like the rites of passage, like Oherogu, like the Creek Runs Clear, like all of the programs that we have in the community right now. And, and it's in alignment with the existing KOR vision, which is in alignment with the 2009 community vision that's been put out and what all of us are supposed to be as community organizations working towards in terms of where we want Kahnawake to be in the next 25 years. So that's what we were looking at. And as Trina said, in no way were we ever, wanting to destroy or clear cut or do anything that would be damaging to the area. If anything, we want to preserve it. We want the community and our children to have that connection to the earth that has been missing, and that has been at the core of what some of the problems are in this community. If anything, we're trying to ensure that the connection to the land increases. And if we can do that, then our future is going to be brighter, in my opinion.
I think there's some questions also regarding the mapping here. So, Dante, if you could just take a quick look. This is
the whole area.
Right. Okay.
And I would say that, I don't know how many acres total, I can't remember.
So this is Survival School currently, right here?
Yes.
Okay, and then you're going over, and
right
this
here,
is the red is what you will.
Well,
be
those were
using
it
for
could have been the 2 areas.
Okay.
Like entrance to the area, but what is being also misinformation out there is the area, and this project is not going to use more than, I think the limit was 3 acres that we would potentially require to do the project. So if there's over 100 acres out there, we're asking, the community to use 3 acres for this cultural center, museum, and theater.
Okay. We're going to head right over to the executive director, Regan Tarbell. Regan, tell us how important is this project for your organization and the need for the new building?
Mm-hmm. Well, I've been with the Cultural Center for 5 years now, and since I came on board, it's been what I've been hearing most from staff, from the board, from our students, and I know that I came on board with this history behind me. There's been studies done before by previous directors, previous board members to investigate having the feasibility of a new building. If you look at our building, it is well over roughly 70 years old. It's dilapidated, is in fact condemned. Our students and our staff are met with rodent droppings and rodents in their classroom, and we currently have a big leak in our permanent exhibition. So this is what people are met with when they come to see what our community's history and our culture and language is all about. They see this dilapidated building. People see beyond that, of course. The staff, our students, our board, community members do see beyond that and the great work that we do. But this is so vital because we don't have a lot of years left in this building. We may have 1 or 2 good years left. Right now we're facing a $30 roof repair for our current leak in the permanent exhibition. So this is, it's so important, it's so vital that we need a space that reflects...
30,000.
30,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So we need a space that reflects how we view language and culture in the community.
So a lot of questions, obviously, we would like to pose to the community. I feel like this issue has been made very public, and we'd like feedback from the community because at this point it is a community-wide issue. We're talking about community lands. We're talking about a community organization. Please post on our strand what your thoughts are. But Trina, is there anything else you feel is important to add, or anybody?
Well, I think it's important to add that the calls that are coming in from supportive community members is drawing attention to issues that we personally, as a project team, we don't feel comfortable in really dealing with, is that the private sector and the clear cutting that's been going on for commercial buildings and for all sorts of businesses in the community, and not one word, and asking us, why aren't people talking about that? But, you know, it's not my place, and I don't know what goes on in the private sector in terms of who's clear cutting and who's not. But we have a stance here for a cultural center, and I don't believe I've ever saw a protest for a clear cutting happening by private business people in our community. And personally, I don't feel that it's part of anything that I'm doing in my professional job. So I don't know, is this a community discussion that needs to take place? And do we need to put something in place in terms of tree cutting, clear cutting? Because I'll tell you, the one clarification I will make is that this project is not a clear cutting project. And we've seen clear cutting projects, and this is a selective cutting. And that's why we're taking careful measures with environment. And I'm hoping people understand that this is not a clear cutting as it's being portrayed to be. And we probably need a discussion, a community meeting on the fact that what's happening in the community with actual clear-cutting projects that are happening on private property.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that there's a lot of issues that were raised with collective land and the use of land versus private ownership during the press conference yesterday. But Linda, you said you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just want to say that I think we all need to remember that this is feasibility study. It's a feasibility study. This is consultation. You know, the community has always been asking for more input and more participation in decisions that are being made in the community. In order to make informed decisions, they need to have all of the information. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to gather all of the information. This is data gathering. There is no decision being made. This is only a feasibility study. If the feasibility study is completed, then there are further approval processes that have to be gone through. But this is part of a consultation process with the community, and we welcome all of this feedback. It's excellent because it's going to help feed the future of our community as well. But just to know that this is a feasibility study only. You know, this is the consultation part. This is the data gathering that we need so that an informed decision about where this cultural center can go can be made. So, you know, we're trying not to get ahead of ourselves, you know, and just to ask people to, you know, let I guess calmer minds prevail, and to come and see the cultural center, come and see Trina, and ask about the information, ask about the map and what really exists there and what's really happening and what's going on before, you know, going off half-cocked and riling up, getting all riled up about everything. So I just wanted to say that this is feasibility, this is consultation, and this is what we need to do in order for the community to make an informed decision.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And obviously we have a timeline that we're working on. There is a geotechnical study that was happening. Trina, can you just really quickly let me know, what is the deadline that you guys are working against to be able to even find the study for the results and get further funding?
Well, this geotech was supposed to be completed by Friday. Obviously, that's not going to happen. I guess at this point we're going into strategy, and we're hoping to come to resolve. I don't have the answer on that right now. I know right now that it's not looking good, because as women in the community, like I said earlier, as Ngwehunwe women, we're not looking for a big fight, and we don't want to feed the outside that we have these major internal conflicts over this project. We like to try to resolve it internally, and right now I don't know. I guess we'll have to go to strategy and see how we're going to resolve it.
Okay, Regan?
I think Trina and Linda touched on this, but of course with the deadline, we are asking for the community to get informed. There was a press conference yesterday. We've been informing the community for the past 2 years of this project, but get informed. We're asking to allow this project to continue. It's a study. It's a feasibility study. Let it continue. Let us meet our deadline so that we can move to the next phase, because if we don't meet that deadline, the project could be null and void at this point.
All right, well, thank you, ladies. Well, you heard it here, everybody. They are looking for community feedback. And of course, again, this has become a community-wide issue. Please reach out to KOR or even drop us a message into our inbox or provide your feedback right here on our timeline. Don't forget, yesterday there was a press conference held here at the Ganyagahago Nguana Radijakwa Language and Cultural Center. And we also interviewed community members who are at the protest site presently. You can see their interview also on our timeline. Reporting live here, I'm Regan Jacobs.